Hello everyone, Lila here, and I know I haven't been on standard YouTube for a while, but let's talk AI, shall we? This is a subject that has come up a lot in my recent discussions with clients, and I'm running my year-long program, Alchemy of Awakening, and so with my 6 students, we were dealing with the mind this last weekend. And so up until this time, you would have heard me talk about the AI of the mind. And that is the human mind, the single dimensional mind, the chattering monkey mind, right? Which is an artificial intelligence because it makes us believe, together with our ego, that we are separate, that we do not have power, that we are not connected to all living things. So I've referred to it as the artificial intelligence of the mind. Now we have AI coming in. Now, as someone who is a healer, yes, now, I was in corporate for 24 years in IT and started off as a programmer, learning ones and zeros and bits and bytes, and then ended up being a project manager for large ERP system implementations. So taking out the old and putting in the new, which is kind of what I'm doing now with the new human, moving out the old and bringing in the new. But I have an understanding of technology, not to the extent that AI is created now, but my guidance on this is extremely clear. That the new human is alive, is a human who respects life, who focuses on everything real. And I'm really just making this short and sweet, right? I could go into a long discussion because I held a talk a week or so ago at the Life Shine Wellness Center around the new human and what that actually means and where we're asked to go. But it has been made clear to me that we need to be very, very careful and show great discernment when it comes to dealing with AI. Now, obviously, you and I cannot stop this technological advancement, and to varying degrees, it finds its way into our lives. However, you can make choices as to how much power you give away to that. Even so, for instance, in a lot of the videos that are being shared now, you'll hear people say that it's vastly more intelligent than human, that humans are going to be outsmarted anytime soon. It depends what we mean about intelligence. Because if we're just working with learned knowledge, right, you can see I love books at the back here, and the thinking mind, perhaps, because an AI in its simplest form is really just a data processor. It is only as good as the data that comes in. And of course, with generative AI, there might be the opportunity to create data, but it's still only working from a base point of what was inputted in the first place. Now, in the realms of the multidimensional field, which is where I work, when I'm offering healing, when I'm offering online readings, when I'm sitting meditating and connecting as a channel through the higher dimensional realms of the God mind, of the greater mind, there is a lot of information there that is not readily available in books. Your imagination, for example, is an information field that is accessible to you in which you can think and create anything. Does AI in the technological form have imagination? No, it doesn't. Because imagination is the fifth dimension, but let's not get into fifth dimension because there's a lot of stuff out there. If we see it as a higher level, call it the imaginary mind. The imaginary mind works with the heart to provide information, because you know I've spoken before that the heart is the all-seeing eye, to provide information that is understood by the heart from which we will be inspired to act. Now that's a very, very different language than the chattering lower dimensional mind, which if we did not have words, can you imagine what might be happening in that mind? Not much, actually. It might just be the symbol of some food if you're hungry, or a tree that you want to climb, or an ocean that you want to swim in. So we really need to start understanding that there are multiple dimensions to the mind. And the heart is the all-seeing eye. The heart transmits and, like a satellite dish, receives information. It doesn't receive information from the chattering mind. It connects to the higher minds. So if you can actually build the sense of an open heart connected to the higher realms, you will receive whatever information it is you need. It's like this metaphysical library, and we speak in terms of, is it the halls of Amenti that people talk about? Or I've had dreams where there's hundreds of millions of books, row upon row, which is just symbolic of the amount of wisdom that is out there. Wisdom is not just sitting in the books that have been written. It's not just sitting in the courses you do or the studies that you partake in. For me, wisdom is being able to connect to the higher forms of intuitive thought, of thought directed by the divine, of thought that is directed towards the benefit of humanity, the highest potential of humanity. So my guides have been very clear. Really, 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 and I can't say this strongly enough, be discerning about how much you engage in that field and how much power you give away. You may have noticed that on the internet, if you use Google, all you get prompted now at the very beginning is an AI dump. It takes someone time to go down and look at other sources of information. Most people who are seeking instant gratification or who are distracted and not as conscious will take the answer that's given to them from the top, not even thinking about whether that's true or not, or where does the source come from. In all of my teachings, the work that I'm providing for my program, it's my own channeled information. Yes, in my life, I'm 57 now, right? I have read books, I have degrees, I have learned through the wisdom of my lower dimensional mind, but I receive immense downloads, transmissions of new material that my thinking mind kind of goes like, oh wow, that's interesting, I didn't know that. So don't give your power away in thinking that AI is more intelligent than you. It is not. If you are sitting close in the chattering mind, then perhaps it is. But if you are working on being more conscious, meditating is not just sitting in a room quietly with your fingers doing this, closing your eyes and humming. Meditation for me is conscious awareness. You can be in a meditative state while you're washing the dishes. You can be in a meditative state while you're brushing your teeth. And in those mundane states, you are often open to receiving insights. A number of people will say, oh, I had this while I was washing the dishes, or I had this while I was driving the car, which is also kind of, well, most times a conscious aware state, right? Because a lot of it is automated, but you are open. So this imaginary realm can be used, you can build strength in it by daydreaming, by sitting with your heart open and just kind of wishing for something, but using the visuals in your mind. You can receive insights through your dreams. Artificial intelligence must not become the new God. It must not become the new religion. Because for me, the new human is someone who respects all life, all life forms, all real life. AI intelligence is not alive, but AI is ones and zeros and can form energetic matrices of information. And I'm not going to use the word consciousness, because consciousness for me comes from the heart and comes from the connection to Mother, Father, God, which AI does not have, is realizing that those networks will become quite strong over the coming years. And you can either become trapped in those like a web, or you can choose to elongate yourself up into the higher realms of imagination and those wisdom sources that have been here for eons. How you can do that in a very simple way is making sure you stay connected to nature. People ask me how I do what I do, and I can't really explain that. Yes, I have an idea. But what I know for sure is that I see, engage, feel, read life. So whether the life is a tree, whether it's my cat, whether it's a dragonfly sitting on a flower outside, whether it's the stars moving in the sky, or whether it's a client I'm with who I feel their essence, their life force, their soul, I feel it through my heart center and I interpret it. That is the field you want to be connected to, because that is our natural energetic circuitry. In mythological terms, that is the Garden of Eden blueprint. It is our natural circuitry as alive, spiritual human beings that we need to return to in order to engage and open our channel. Because we have to grow past the webs that are going to be created by AI. The next 5 years are critical for humanity to choose life, not technology, as their God. So honoring life, respecting life, whether it's the ant who's chasing your honey in the kitchen, or whether it's your next door neighbor who you're having difficulties with, or even greater difficulties with someone across your religious divide. We're being asked to honor that, to go back to that fundamental principle, to be real, and to focus all of our attention, commitment, devotion to that which is real. And our realness is our soulfully embodied humanness. Not to separate out spiritual human, but to combine the two. So in my teachings, I share about soul embodiment, right? I've spoken about that golden spiral. You need to do everything in your power to create an energetic field that is conducive to receiving that high vibration of your soul. And for me, the soul is just a vessel, right? It delivers healing and wisdom. And then that shines the light of awareness on anything stuck or restrictive in your field that is going to negate that flow. So I will share more on the soul embodiment. But today, the message is clear. Be discerning of AI. Do not give your power away to AI. If you're writing an email or a document, don't let AI write it for you, because energetically, which is where I work, that energy is encroaching in your field. You're not sharing what is true for you. Don't worry about the grammar or whether you think it sounds correct. Do what feels right. Consider your words carefully, but make them your words, because everything is energy. And the words we speak and the thoughts we have and the beliefs we enact on need to come from that spiritual, soulful place of us as divine human beings. And I'm going to keep it short. But if you want to know more about the subject, message me, comment below, and let's talk about this more. I know it might be controversial and I might have shaken a couple of people up, but this is what I feel deep in my heart, and this is what I felt I needed to share today. So sending you much love and blessings out there. Take care of yourselves, and we may well chat again soon. Bye for now.